Dr. M. Subbaya is an assistant professor in mathematics in LN Government College, Poneri. He has specialized on statistics interdisciplinary. Being interested in active research program and mathematical or statistical modeling, he has knowledge in operating various softwares on statistical tools and on technical computing. Having 16 years of teaching experience, he has published papers in 8 national and international journals and has also presented papers in 10 national and international conferences.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series on mathematical sciences. The present discussion will be on the descriptive statistics and probability. In that, we are going to discuss the measures of central tendency. First of all, the need for such measures we should understand. Basically, statistics is to collect the data, summarize, present it, and then analyze, then get inference and so on. So, that is the typical cycle of a statistical procedure, whatever may be the data type or the objective of the research, objective of the problem. So, in that way, this present discussion is to summarize a data which is collected over a period or a measurement, count data, whatever may be. We need to summarize in a nutshell. That means, a simple descriptive measure through which we can understand few characteristics of the data, which may have advantage as well as disadvantage, which may not be exhaustive, but care must be taken to apply a respective measure of central tendency for a given particular type of data. So, that is the core objective of this session. So, in that, the 3 measures of central tendency we are going to have: mean, median, mode, and then how you are going to compute them, what is the computational formula for 2 type of data which could be presented normally, ungrouped and grouped. So, this ungrouped may not have the frequency which has a raw data. Usually, we have another name to represent this particular type of data, ungrouped or raw data. Grouped is simply we would classify the data, given data points based on the number of occurrences of a particular data value or in a closed, in an interval form. Then the third point which we have to observe is the appropriate measure of central tendency. So, when we can apply. So, this is the 3 point objectives. To start with, I may give some standard notations totally we follow for the present discussion, because to express a formula we need to understand what is the notation to be followed first of all, because there is no generality or there is no compulsion by which this given data, that is the ungrouped raw data, are being denoted. You can call it as x or y or z. For convenience, I just take them as x1, x2, x3, etc., xn, so that we may have a finite data points here. Though you could have sometime infinitely, uncountably infinite or countably infinite format also, but that is not the point of discussion here. I restrict here with the xn in the sense to mean that n is finite. As far as grouped data is concerned, just now I mentioned that they are all grouped or classified according to the frequencies. So, how many times the value x1 repeated, similarly x2 repeated, similarly x3 and so on. So, respective symbols for frequency is denoted conveniently as f1, f2, f3, fn throughout the discussion. And similarly, if you have a case of class interval, then the same x1, x2 will represent the midpoints. So, we need to recollect what we refer by this value called midpoint of a given interval. So, quickly I will have a topic for recollect here. So, one is class mark, which is the midpoint here, a plus b by 2. So, where the interval could be of any class, whether both limits are not included, one of them might be included here. So, irrespective of the way the grouping is done, the midpoint is called a plus b or calculated as upper limit plus lower limit by 2. Similarly, sometime the class interval will be helpful or width of the interval will be helpful, that is simply upper limit minus lower limit. So, these two calculations are useful whenever we try to apply some formulas for computing the three measures. The first simple measure I will take, which is very quite often used in the daily walk of life. So, arithmetic mean. So, it has a very good feature that basically it is very simple mathematical formula, especially for an ungrouped data we just add all the values and divide by n. So, I think we can remember the notations involved in the previous slide, x 1, x 2, etc., x n. So, that x are generally denoted here as x I with the index running from I equal to 1 to n. So, this formula can be remembered as x 1 plus x 2 plus etc., x n by n, or simply add all the data points, that is the raw data point, divide by the number of items. So, I maintain the small n to denote the number of data points. This is the usual notation for the sample mean x bar, and we have to read it as x bar is equivalent to summation of x I, where I is running over 1 to n whole divided by n. So, a simple formula here. As far as the grouped data is concerned, the arithmetic mean is calculated by this formula, again x bar is used, f I x I divided by capital N. So, these notations are used conveniently, so that this n refers, small n refers to number of data points and capital N refers to some of the frequencies. Sometime it may be remembered as total frequency. So, care must be taken to understand the way in which the formulas are being presented. F I refers to the frequencies of x I, respective frequency for each of the points x I, and then that index is running from 1 to n. In a similar way, to calculate the total frequency, I am adding the individual frequencies of n data points, that is denoted by capital N. So, let us once again read this formula as x bar is equivalent to summation of f I x I divided by n, with I runs from 1 to n. So, this I is just an index, symbol of index, it could be j or k or anything for that matter. So, that we just understand them as we are adding or multiplying with the help of the given index. Let us take this particular case f 1 x 1. So, I take x 1 multiply with respective frequency, then add, then f 2 x 2. Such a long sentence is simply expressed in a symbolic form f I x I, with I is running from 1 to n. So, we just to quickly complete what all the formulas we have, then we will take simple examples to understand or to just illustrate all these cases. This is usually given as a shortcut formula. Basically, we just reduce the quantum of the given value x. So, the purpose of these kind of formulas are, formulas in statistics are very simple. The purpose is, the sole purpose I could say is to minimize the quantum in the calculation, because x could be very large number, f I also equally very large number. So, when you multiply, you have to deal with large numbers that can be avoided for a handheld calculation, need not be in a calculator, or it may not be needed for a computer, where we just add or write a program or use a spreadsheet to calculate the respective product and summation, where these kind of shortcut formulas are not so important or required. However, for a handheld calculation, to ease the product or the process of multiplication, these kind of formulas are available, or you could observe from the theory or the methodology of statistical procedures. One among them is actually the formula which I just present here, that calculates x bar as a plus, and this summation I explained already, but you find a small difference. It is not the actual data, it is somewhat calculated as a deviation or deviated value. For that sense, a simple di is used to refer this particular calculation. In what way it is deviated? I take xi, each value, subtract it from an assumed mean or assumed value. So, capital A is used for that purpose. So, di equal to xi minus a. In that sense, this calculation is called deviation of xi from a common value a. So, what is the purpose or what is the idea? Very simple. The measures of central tendency, if you look into the name, they refer to say there is a measure or there is a number which is closely or which will be tending towards the central value of the given distribution of the data. So, in our common language, common usage, if a person says that my average in expense per day would be say 50 rupees. So, nobody will straight away say that he will be spending exactly 50 rupees. The meaning of that word average or a mean is somewhere around 50. Sometime it may be more than 50, sometime it may be less than 50. By and large, we could easily understand that this above or below, this freedom is not too much away from this 50. Nobody could expect that he is spending somewhere around 200 rupees, because his answer is 50 rupees per day as an expenditure, average expenses. We could normally expect that he can go maybe up to 60 or this time maybe 40. So, this deviation is sometime we could understand. So, the measure of central tendency are trying to push the values towards the central part of your data or data distribution. In that sense, we just assume certain value, you are free to choose the value a, there is no hard and fast rule, but how much the individual values are deviated from the assumed mean, that is what this dA refers. So, formula has a slighter change when you compare with the formula involving the actual value xi. So, this di will be calculated like this. Then I move on to the calculation of median. So, the point where we try to understand the need to calculate median is, even you take the previous example. So, previous example, as I mentioned you, that when some person is saying that the average expense is 50, we just deviate a little bit higher or lower, not very high. So, such values are problematic in calculating or interpreting the mean, average value, very extreme values. So, mean is subjected to affected by these kind of extreme values, let it be higher or very much lower. For that, there is another calculation which also tending more towards the central value, the name itself refers to some point, median. So, for ungrouped data again, whenever the number of data points is odd number or even number, we use this formula. So, when n is odd, n plus 1 will be even, thereby you can divide by 2, so that you can get an integer. So, you can find out what is the n plus 1 by 2th item. Similarly, we can calculate if n is even, n by 2, and please refer this is carefully, n by 2 plus 1. So, suppose n is 10, I take 10 by 2 as 5, 10 by 2 plus 1, namely 5 plus 1 6. So, the elements in the 5th and 6th place, you will get the average out of it, and both these formulas should be applied only after the given data is sorted, either in an ascending order or in a descending order. So, that you can say 50% of the values are less than that and 50% of the values are above or more than what you refer as median, that is the positional average. Okay. So, where or which value is in the 50th position, that means 50 percentile. So, less than that will be 50% of the data point and more than that will be 50% of the data. That is how we are dividing by 2. So, these formulas are carefully noted. N is odd, n plus 1 is even, therefore, I can divide. When n is even, I divide straight away, and then n by 2th place, n by 2 plus 1th place. That is how we have to remember. However, for a grouped data, we find a method using cumulative frequency, and then we have to locate where the value capital N, I remember, or I feel that this capital N can be remember total frequency, where this n by 2 will lie, and then refer that particular class as median class. Then there are few constants we have to pick it up from or with reference to the median class, so that those constants can be straight away plugged in a formula to calculate median for a grouped interval. Let me have a quick look on to that particular formula, L plus n by 2 minus C by F into W. So, all these things based on this median class in the sense where the total frequency by 2 lies. So, the idea of finding measure of central tendency, especially mean and median, has been discussed so far. The meaning of these constants introduced in the median class, and then how to pick them for a grouped data. Similarly, for a mode we can discuss after a small break. Welcome back to the session. So, just now we have a name called median class, which refers to the class interval where capital N by 2 lies. So, once we locate this median class, we are able to find out a few constants and then plug them in this formula. Here is the explanation what this L stands for. L is the lower limit of median class. C, next notation, I skip N because this is the standard notation for total frequency. C refers to cumulative frequency in the preceding median class before that, then capital F frequency of median class, then W width or class interval. So, once we understand what is median class with reference to n by 2, we shall pick the values and then plug them up, then a simple arithmetic will get the value of median as far as grouped frequency is concerned. In a similar way, let us quickly refer to mode, where the highest frequency in the distribution is referred as a mode. Mode means modal or the maximum value. So, which value is highly repeated, that is called as a mode. So, that can be called as, say, in the example of average expenses, suppose you take 30 days expenses of a given person, suppose the amount 45 is repeated more than 20 times, or mean 20 days. So, his most of the expenses would most of the daily expenses will be around 45. So, 45 will be a representative number for the given set of data. So, all the one point mass will be a representative for the given set of data. So, in that way we have a name or we have a notion called mode, which calculates based on the highest frequency data. So, for a grouped data we need to locate mode class similar to median class, but here we need to locate a class interval with the highest frequency. So, whenever we deal with mode, the one point we have to remember is take the class interval or the value which has highest frequency. So, what are the formulas which also quite similar to median class formula, but the shape is slightly different in this area. L lower limit of mode class, F1 frequency of mode class, F0 prior to that, F2 after that, that means next to mode class. So, F1, F0, F2, stick to F1 for modal class, prior to 1 will be 0, after 1 will be 2. So, all the quantities are with respect to modal class. So, W is again width of the modal class. So, with respect to modal class or median class, the respective summaries could be computed simply. All these discussions we will do in a very simple exercise. So, ultimately one should understand for what is the raw data and what is the grouped data. Grouped data are normally referred by frequency distribution, either by class interval or by simple values with the frequency, whatever may be. Let me start with a simple example. So, I refer to a data set which may have 10 data points. So, I will take the points 128, 115, 106 and 128, 122, so on. So, this is an example for raw data. I do not group it. So, raw data which has 10 values in this example. Okay, I will have up to 10 values, of course, not at all ordered. So, we do not bother about the exact value, we are just going to represent as an example. So, in our notational form, this refers to x 1, this refers to x 2, etc. This refers to, in this case, x 10. So, 10 refers to that number of data points. So, in small n, in our language so far we had n equal to 10. So, how to calculate average? X bar is equal to summation of x I divided by n. Summation of x I equal to 1. So, I can simplify the expressions to write 128 plus 115 plus etc. plus 117. You could easily follow that. Our value is 10 here. The total value is 1204 divided by 10, and that will give you 120.4. So, we will have the formula for x bar when you have a simple raw data. Suppose in the given data point I have 128 and 115 and so on so forth, 117, another value is added, say 347 is added, then we have the summation of x I by n. Now, n is 11 because you have one more value to be added. So, summation of x I will be 1551 divided by 11, ultimately we have 141. One of the disadvantage I just want to refer, though it is a very mild disturbance, we just understand that the original answer were somewhere around 120, okay, whereas that 120 could be a good representative as far as the data points are concerned, because the minimum value is 102 and maximum is going up to 145, and very few, I mean only one number is actually in 145. The rest of the values are invariably below 122. So, your data point where 120 is the mean could be a good representative, whereas I just add one more value which is very much deviant from the given data point, only one value. So, your mean is jumped from 120 to 141, which is not that much centered. So, the mean has this kind of disadvantage or limitation, we could say. It is not a problem or it is not a difficulty, but it is a limitation that means are normally affected by extreme values. So, just to add one value which is very much deviant. Okay. For example, if you want to calculate average salary in a group of employees, few employees would get more salary, most of the employees would be very far away, but the average would be deviated heavily from the mass, heavily from the most number of employees. So, mean is having this kind of limitations, but we should know when to apply mean and then median carefully. So, the calculation for frequency distribution is, suppose I take a simple distribution 0 10, 10 20, then 20 30, then we have 30 40, then we have 40 50. Then we have the frequencies, I take it as 5, 3, 8, 2, 7. Let me explain two things here. One is the mid value, namely your x I. So, a plus b by 2 or b plus a, whatever may be. So, it is 5, 15 and then 25 and then 35 and then 45. So, for example, this last case 40 plus 50 divided by 2, 90 by 2. So, 45 we have. Then to calculate the respective formula calculation f x or f I x I. So, quickly we have 25, 45, then we have 200, then 70, then we have 315 and add all of them, you get 655. So, capital N, the total frequency, this is the summation, and that we have 25. Therefore, x bar will be 655 divided by 25. So that we have the calculation of two things now, capital N, which differs from small n in the previous example. Capital N would be 25, sum of the frequencies, and then I multiply the frequency with the midpoint, I get the total. So, if you remember the formula we have earlier, namely summation of f I x I divided by capital N. That is what I just plugged in the values and then get the answer. Okay. So, this way we try to calculate the mean for grouped data. In my same example, so quickly we just recollect our problem 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and 40 to 50. Let us write our frequency again 5, 3, 8 and 2 and then 7. Total we already calculated as 25. Now, we need to find out something called median class. What we need to do? Wherever n by 2 lies, for that let us calculate something we discussed already, cumulative frequencies. So, 5, 5 plus 3 8, 16, 16 plus 2 18, 18 plus 7 25. Let us locate n by 2. N by 2 is nothing but 25 by 2, 12.5, that lies in the interval 8 to 16, 12.5. So, 25 by 2, namely 12.5, that lies here. So, I refer this as median class. So, job is over. Once we locate it, what are the constants we are supposed to take? L, 20, lower limit of median class. Then C, we have the cumulative frequency preceding the median class. Then F, we have frequency of the median class. Coincidentally both are same, but not necessarily always. Then W, width, upper limit minus lower limit 10. Plug them in the respective formula for median. So, median is equal to 20 plus n by 2, 12.5 minus C, 8 divided by 8 into 10. I just ignore the computation from this, simple addition and subtraction. So, the final answer would be 25.625. So, hope you could understand. N by 2, locate it, it lies between 8 and 16, median class. L is the lower limit, C is the cumulative frequency preceding it, F is the frequency of median class and W is the width of the median class. Plug them, get the answer. So, this is the way to compute the median of grouped class. So, in a similar manner, for the convenience, let me recollect the same problem 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and the job is very simple for mode 5, 3, 8, 2, 7. Here to find the mode, the job is pretty simple because locate the highest frequency, this one. So, my model class will be this. So, this is the model class mode. Okay. So, where it could, now we have to get the respective calculations here. What is our mode calculation? Lower limit of mode, that is 20 plus frequency of mode f1 minus f0, this is f1, I mean f1 preceding, I just take 0 precedes 1 succeeded by 2. So, f0, f1, f2, f1 is 8, f0 is 3, then twice of f1. So, 2 times 8 minus f naught 3 minus f 1 2 into width, namely 10. So, calculate this factor and then add it to 20. The answer comes as 24.545. So, the preceding computations show you the simplest way to calculate them using a handheld calculations. So, the location of median class and mode class will refer you to pick the values from the respective classes L, C, F, W for median, L, F1, F0, F2, W for modal class, and then compute with a simple form from the given formula for the median and mean. So, this slide will quickly make you to understand where to use them very much appropriately. Mode is the only measure that can be used for nominal. Mode and median can be used for ordinal because they are all ordered. Interval ratio any form, you can use mean, median, anything. Mean provides the most information about the distribution. Median is preferred if the distribution is skewed. I told you know, if the distribution is supposed to have extreme values like wages or income, expenditure on a particular month or a day could be very high compared to the other values. So, at that time we may not depend on mean, or we cannot rely on mean very much, rather than we can go for median calculation, which is not much affected by extreme values. So, this quick information give you when and where to apply mean, median, mode appropriately. So, this is the general property of mean. So, this is a skewed one where mean is higher than the other two. Skewed to left we have mode will be higher than that. So, these figures will give some understanding when to use the three measures appropriately. So, the graph which we have observed can be easily remembered. For a positively skewed distribution, mode is lower than the least of 3. So, mean, and negatively skewed, mean will be the least of all, and for symmetrical we have all the three of this are same. But there exists a empirical relation. If people are able to calculate the two of the measures, third can be calculated easily. This is only an empirical relation, that means it is not proved mathematically, but there is a quick way to calculate one measure through the other two. So, summarizing our discussion today, we have to know why we do the summarization with a diagram or table, and then now we go for numerical summaries using measures of central tendency for three different type of data. So, of which mean, median, mode are widely used tools by which you can calculate by the respective formulas you can calculate them. We have understood empirical relation to calculate one from the other two, and other computational formulas, especially when the given data is of the form grouped or ungrouped format, and also the nominal, ordinal and interval ratio type of data require a special attention to decide among the three summary measures. So, quick examples or illustrations to calculate the three items for the given ungrouped data, and then you may be asked to find out the group and then calculate the summary measures. So, this session deals with three summary measures or measures of central tendency. Thank you for joining.